Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. Happy day, happy week. We're wrapping it up with Dr. Mort, and we're going to be talking about a little bit about what it takes to master your life around some things that we wouldn't normally talk about every day. And Dr. Mort is here to talk about his journey, his influence, and some of the things he's learned along the way. And we want to share with you today. So welcome, Dr. Mort. How you doing?
Great, Russ. Happy to be here.
You know, it's happy Friday, and it's already Friday again. I cannot believe it's almost September, and we're just cruising along. And we met through, was it Lunch Club?
Yes, it was Lunch Club.
And you were driving across the country from Florida to Washington, Anacortes.
Yes,
and
that's where I am. That's where I am right now for the next couple of days, and I'll be leaving. But yes, we, my wife and I, drove across around right before the 4th of July, and it took us 9 days in a little tiny Honda Civic, packed full of all of our stuff that we needed for 2 months, and we spent about 8 hours, average about 8 hours a day on the road. It was interesting, very interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that you got to see some incredible countryside.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Lots of highway.
Yep.
So we're talking about mastery. We want to talk about some of the things that you're doing right now with your program that you've developed over, duration of working in the medical field, and also, experience in life yourself. And so kind of give us a backstory on how you came to be in this place right now.
Well, by training, I'm an internal medicine physician, and I practiced for 23 years in Baltimore, had my own solo practice. And then I spent 15 years working for a Blue Cross and Blue Shield health insurance plan as a medical director. So I've seen both sides of, the health insurance industry, from the physician side and the administration side. And but all along the way, even when I was in practice, very early on, I got sort of turned on to the mental health side of taking care of patients. As physicians, we are not trained that well in dealing with mental health issues, but they get presented to us all the time. People come in, they tell, not only are they sick, but they've got family issues and work issues and all kinds of stress issues and things like that. And so we're presented with it, and most doctors, we don't know what to do with it. We can give people pills for anxiety or depression, but we don't know how to intervene and help people live better lives or be happier or have less stress. And so I became interested in that whole area, and I felt, I wanted to be the kind of doctor that didn't just take care of bodies,
right?
But I took care of people, and that I could attend to some of those issues in my patients, and also because of myself, because I realized that I didn't have a lot of expertise or knowledge in how to master life. I mean, I knew medicine, and I was successful professionally, but in my personal life, I had all kinds of issues and struggles.
Right.
Dealing with anger and frustration and irritability, and then relationship conflicts, and just not being happy, and kind of having to pretend, that I had it all together, because, as a professional, you gotta walk around sort of with that air, that you've got, what you're doing. And I did know what I was doing, but I wasn't feeling all that happy inside. And I always struggled with it. I kept exploring things to try and find something that would help with those issues for myself.
Right.
And nothing really helped until at one point, I sort of had this major breakthrough where I realized that a lot of the stuff that I had been taught about happiness, about stress, about emotions, a lot of that stuff wasn't really true. And it wasn't until I was willing to let go of what I had been taught, and what most of us are taught and believe, that I was able to start exploring, what is true. And I tried to find some innovative thinkers and people that I tried to study with, and read their stuff and go to their lectures and whatever. And little by little, over a couple of years, actually, I came up with some solutions that actually worked for me for the first time. And then I once I started to get results, then I started doing seminars and workshops and building it into my practice and doing one-on-one stress counseling with people. And so I've been for 40 years, doing that work in addition to being a regular trained physician. So
go a little deeper. I want to go a little deeper in the
sure.
truths versus the normal perception.
Sure.
Because I think it's really important, and it's a key factor in transformation. So go a little deeper in what is imagined and what is real.
Well, for example, stress is the area that I sort of specialized in, and I don't deal in stress management. So I think the whole stress management thing is crazy if you really think about it. I mean, most stress management techniques just deal with symptoms. Now, they're better than, in other words, you can deal with symptoms by using alcohol and drugs and stuff like that, but you have problems associated with that. Well, then there's all this stress management stuff like yoga and meditation, relaxation, which is healthier, doesn't have those negative effects, actually has positive effects. But it's still, most of it is dealing still with symptoms. So, like if you're in a bad marriage and you're having relationship problems, you can punch a punching bag all day long and run 5 miles every day and dissipate some of the tension that's building up in your system. But is your marriage going to get any better as a result of that? The answer is no. Until you deal with the issues of what's going on, the root causes of what's going on in your marriage, it's not going to get better. So, I always saw stress, not always, but I mean, I realized that stress management was really no different than using alcohol or drugs. It was just healthier. But there was a bigger problem, which is how do you understand the causes of the problem, the stressful problems that you're having in life, and how do you deal with those causes effectively once you identify them? And we're not taught that, and we're not modeled that. Where everybody blames the external circumstances in life for why they have stress, and that's only part of a small part of the story. The bigger issue is all the stuff going on inside us. Our kind of automatic ways of thinking and believing and looking at life and philosophical stances, assumptions that we have that are causing a lot of the problems that we end up with. So, and nobody's really helping us identify that and deal with that. And so that's what I discovered for myself 40 plus years ago. And then I've been sort of teaching people how to do those kinds of things in different areas of life. So dealing with their emotions, dealing with stress, dealing with relationships, dealing with things like fear of public speaking, all kinds of issues that you can, if you get down to the roots and deal with causes, you can make your stress go away without having to manage anything. And it's actually much better to do it that way.
Okay, so let's take a real world example. Say, for
Sure.
instance, I have a toxic boss. I'm working in a work environment that's toxic.
Sure.
For whatever reason, the cause of my stress is the fact that I have anxiety each time I walk through the door. Now, there's two ways I can see. It's like get a new job.
Well, that is one. Yeah, that's what most people think of. They think the circumstances are causing their stress, so they think the solution is rearrange or change the circumstances. And to the degree that you can do that, then that may help the problem.
But that may not may not solve the problem of you putting that on yourself, right?
Correct. And that's if you're putting anxiety on yourself, let's say, you're not just doing it in your job. That may be where it's most evident and most painful, but you're doing it all over and everywhere in your life. So again, when you get down to understanding within you the root causes of how you're generating anxiety, then you can fix it no matter what area of life you're generating it in without having to change the circumstances, which again, if you can change the circumstances or modify them, great, go for it, do it. But a lot of times we find that we don't have the power or the influence, or the control to alter the circumstance. So then we have to adjust within ourselves. It may involve, do some soul searching and saying, do I really want to be in this toxic environment? And what's keeping me in here? Because a lot of times people will feel trapped or they'll feel married to their paycheck and they'll realize they're in a toxic situation, but they won't be willing to change it.
Yeah.
And that's an internal, cause of stress if you look at it in that way.
Yeah.
Because
well, the other thing is that it's why am I feeling this way?
Yes.
why am I reacting to this particular bit of stress? Why is this causing me anxiety? What is it about this interaction or this outside source that's causing me to feel this way?
Well, this is where,
what is it about me that does that?
yeah, and it's not you as you individual per se. I mean, it's true for all human beings. I mean, one of the things we really don't understand ourselves as human beings all that well. I mean, this was a real revelation for me. I mean, I went to medical school to treat human beings. They don't teach us they don't teach us what a human being is. They teach us what a liver is, what a spleen is, what a heart is.
What it
They don't.
does.
Yeah, they don't teach us what a human being is. So I graduated my 7 years of training, started treating human beings, and I very quickly realized I don't have a clue as what a human being is, and including myself. I didn't understand myself as a human being. But when you ask the question, why do we react the way we do? Why do we feel the way, or have anxiety or anger or whatever? We get programmed by, as we go through life, and you get certain ideas and certain thoughts. They become automatic.
Yeah.
And you get certain things happen around you. You get triggered, and unbeknownst to you, in the background in your body, and which includes your mind and your brain and everything, certain ways of looking at things and thinking about things just automatically get triggered. And when you look at things in a certain way and think about things in a certain way, you'll get anxious. When you look at things in a certain way and think of them in a different way, you'll get anger. And another way, you'll get guilt. And there's very specific patterns. It's a cognitive behavioral sort of model. But you could trace it back to cognitions and behaviors within us that we don't usually have much conscious awareness of when they're happening. That's what's causing our reactions. And if you can understand for certain emotions that are very common, if you can understand what those driving mechanisms are,
right,
then anytime, once you get that understanding, it's kind of thing you never let go of. It's like you don't ever want to go back to not understanding. Because then every time, then from that point forward, every time you get anxious, okay, I know why I'm anxious now. Every time you get angry, I know exactly why I'm angry now. And then you can step in and maybe do something about it. But when you're oblivious to the internal mechanisms, you can't do anything internally. All you can do is rearrange the chairs on the Titanic, and
so we can reduce it and understand it. It may not necessarily remove it.
No, you can actually remove it. I mean, I've done this thousands of times over the last 40 years. Once I developed the system that I developed for dealing with emotions. So let's say I used to get angry all the time. I used to be like John McEnroe. I used to play tennis. John McEnroe was like my spiritual God. I broke a lot of tennis rackets. I used to get angry at the drop of a dime. And the last 40 years, I almost never get angry. And if I do, which occasionally happens, I know exactly. I can tell you 1, 2, 3. I know exactly how I'm thinking in order to get angry. And once I know that, here's where the truth comes in. There's another area of truth. We've been lied to by society, but we lie to ourselves.
Yeah.
Our bodies lie to us all the time. One of the things I like to say is that our bodies produce more fake news than CNN, Fox News, every network combined on a daily basis, and we have no awareness of what's going on. So, but if you know exactly how you're thinking to produce anger, you can step in and say, "Well, is that thought true?
Yeah.
Is that assumption true? Did somebody really do something bad and wrong?
Yeah.
Did somebody really get hurt or harmed?
Yeah.
Was somebody really 100% to blame for it, and I had nothing to do with it?" Yeah. When you understand those are the mechanisms under anger, and that your body automatically assumes they're true, and that's when the body assumes it's true. That's how it's going to react. And if it were true, then you should react that way. You should be angry. Okay, if those things
that's
are
a
true.
normal response.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to a couple of people here as we get through, because there's some questions here, Mort.
Sure.
Good morning, Russ. Happy weekend. Elise from South Africa. Wendy says, "Wow, stress-free Friday, pirates. Good morning, Admiral. Welcome to the ship, Mort. We pirates are an admirable bunch, amiable bunch. No one walks the plank unless you forget the kindness is cool." So, Nick Gimmel. Hey, Nick Gimmel, hope you're watching. You're plugged into Mort. Yeah, Nick, we should connect you guys. My stress is reduced by an intense commitment to acknowledging gratitude. I
Yep, and
love that. I love that.
that will work. That will definitely work. Yep.
Howard Kaufman asked the question, what role does diet contribute to the mental state on stress?
Well, it contributes to some degree. I mean, if you're taking in a lot of caffeine and sugar and other stimulants and things like that, that's going to produce some problems. The whole area of nutrition is a difficult area to know things for sure because it's so hard. It's so hard to isolate. You do studies. It's so hard to isolate the role that diet plays from all the other factors that are going on in a person's life. So there are people who have theories about it, and I'm not sure we can validate many of them. Science has some weaknesses to it, and one of the areas is nutritional science, because it's so complicated, complex, and so many moving parts and other factors that it's hard to separate out the role of diet. But it does. I'm sure it plays some role, and obviously, we used to see people when I was in practice, people who used a lot of energy drinks and caffeine, caffeinated beverages, and things like that would be more anxious in general, and sometimes, have fluctuating moods and things like that. So that can contribute, just as a lack of sleep, can contribute to just being more prone to stress in general and more irritable in general. So there are lots of basic health principles that if you follow them, it'll help to reduce your stress. But the problem is people have trouble following them.
Why is that? Why is that? What is it that causes people to say, I'm all stressed out and I'm not going to do anything about it? And they
because we don't
stressed out about them being stressed out.
We don't. The problem is that we don't trust ourselves to give our word and keep it to ourselves, and because we have a track record. We've done that so many times when we said, "Oh, I'm going to start a diet, or I'm going to start I'm going to exercise today," and then something comes up and we bail out. We don't do it. So we've trained ourselves to know that we can't count on ourselves to say, I'm going to do X, and at the end of the day, we'll have done X. And that's a skill. And that's a life mastery skill, actually. And that's something.
You have a program. I think you have a program around that, don't you?
I do. And it's something that I didn't have that skill myself until I put myself through my own training program to rehabilitate that ability, to where I wanted to be able to know that if I said I was going to do something, that I would follow through and do it. And that with the usual things that stopped me in the past were not going to stop me anymore. And I had to train myself to do that. It took me I did a 2-year program back when I was in my mid-30s to rehabilitate that ability. And then I've been and I actually do daily things to keep that skill up. It's almost like you train a muscle and then you have to keep the muscle trained, otherwise it atrophies. So I do things,
daily habits,
yes,
just like gratitude. Wake up.
I do things on a daily basis to practice giving my word and keeping it. For example, I will put my seatbelt on in my car every single time. I don't care if my wife says, "Would you please move your car back in the garage, 2 feet so I can get to a box?" If I get in my car to move that car 2 feet out of my garage, I will put my seatbelt on. Not because I'm afraid I'm going to crash, but because that's a pledge I made to myself that every time I'm in my car and the car is moving, I will put my seatbelt on. And I don't care what the reason is, I will do that. Nothing will stop me from doing that. And that's part of my ongoing maintenance of keeping up that ability to give my word and keep it. And then you do that on a regular basis for a few months and a few years and a few decades. And you then know that you can trust yourself to make changes in your life. And if you don't have that trust, you're not even going to start on a project to change something because you're going to bail out. And it's just so many people just bail out so easily that they've lost the trust.
So how do we rebuild trust in ourselves?
By having daily wins. You have to daily do things. They don't have to be big things, but you do things. For example, I created a weight loss program back when I was working for the insurance company for our employees. And it was a very innovative weight loss program. I haven't seen anything like it since, and nothing like it before. But I started out with one of the first things was people were not allowed to lose weight in the program until they showed they were able to give their word and keep it over a period of several weeks. That was the first part of the course. And we used daily exercise promises, not big exercise promises. Could be little, I'm going to walk 20 minutes today.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to do 10 push-ups twice a day. It didn't have to be anything super, but whenever in the morning, you would have to say what you were going to do, and then you had to nail it, no matter what came up that day. And you had to be able to do that consistently, day after day. And it took people a period of about a month to 6 weeks before they got good at that. And then only when they had that ability under their belt did we then start working on, okay, now transfer that ability to what you're going to eat today. And you're going to say, I'm going to have, this is what my eating plan is for today. And then you nail that each day. And if you can do that, and you have a good eating plan, which there's tons of them, it's not just one. Right. You can pick any one you want. And if you have the ability to stick to it, you'll either lose weight, or you'll find out that you're not losing weight, and then you'll figure out that you need a different eating plan. That was the wrong eating plan for you. And you can be successful losing weight, but again, you have to have this ability to give your word and keep it, which is where most people fall short. Or they'll do it for a while, and then actually the worst thing that can happen is you lose the weight. Which is why weight loss programs are screwy, because they try to motivate you to get you to act. And then the motivation drives you to stick to your diet. And then as soon as you reach your goal, what happens to the motivation that was there in the beginning? It goes away.
It goes away.
And then now you got nothing driving you except yourself. And that's where we fall down, because we don't trust ourselves. We can't, we haven't honed that ability to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do today, and I'm going to do it. And then that's what you need when the motivation goes away, when you reached your goal weight, because a lot of people reach their goal weight on various diet programs, and then they just go back to where they were before. Again, because of this issue we're talking about, which is again
up and down, up and down, up and down all the time.
Yeah. And again, this is another what I call a life mastery skill. I mean, the ability to give your word and keep it is so important in life, in every dimension of our lives, not just weight loss, diet, things like that, and exercise. But
so talk about this
relationships,
talk about this life mastery skills for men program that you have going on right now, because I know a lot of men, we're supposed to be 10 foot tall and bulletproof most of the time, and take care of things, and no emotion and all that kind of stuff. And I think we've built a culture around this inability to have any imperfections, and it's really caused a lot of pain. A lot of suicides are up, and mental health is a huge issue. A lot of talking. I have had a lot of people on this show talk about mental health and the impact of mental health, and I've had my own experience in suicide in my life. And so talk about what it means to master these skills and how you're doing it for men right now.
Yeah, I decided to, I've been doing stress related stuff for 40 years, as I said, and other areas as well. But I decided to focus on men because I saw that there's all these programs out there for women, and women are very easily, engaged in these kind of things. They flock to them. They soak up personal development. And like you say, men were a little more reserved. I'm tough. I don't need any help.
I got this. I got it handled.
Yeah, I got it handled. I got it all together. But so I felt that men needed more. There should be more programs for men to kind of catch up with women. So what the women are doing. So and I knew I had some of these life mastery skills that I had acquired over the years, and I wanted to package them up and make them available in an easily accessible way. And so I wanted to develop transformational programs. So it's not information per se. It's you go into a program and you come out, you see things differently. You behave differently. You see the world differently. You see your problem differently. You see the solutions differently. It's all, that's what real transformation is. You actually become a different person in how you understand life and how you interact with life, and it it really makes you more successful in the areas that you've been struggling with for years and years and years sometimes. So that's what I wanted to do. I put this online learning center together for men called the Life Mastery Skills for Men Online Learning Center. And my goal is just getting started. My goal is to create more and more programs for men in that area. I have a bunch of free mini courses and courses that are available now, and I'm building out some of the other trainings that I've done over the years to make them available. So the idea is to invite men in. We have a community of like-minded people that are interested in pursuing life mastery skills and enhancing our life mastery skills. So it's about being happier, being less stressed, having better relationships, and not getting divorced, and sleeping better, and being better role models for our kids and stuff like that we all want. Yeah. I mean, the truth is, every human being has been pursuing life mastery since they were toddlers. Right. We're trying to figure out how life works, so we can master it. And we just don't get a lot of training about life in schools, even in professional schools. You just don't. You got to go seek it out, yourself, which is what I did, and what a lot of people are doing. I mean, Tony Robbins is out there. Brendan Burchard. All these people are out there, teaching people how to master different areas of life. And you got to go after it if you want it. So I believe one of the neat things about men is that we are natural born winners. I mean, we are born to win. Yeah. And we have a lot of competitive desire, and there are areas of life that we have learned how to master. Each of us has learned how to master various areas, but then there are other areas of our lives where we're not so good at. Yeah. And we kind of shove them under the rug. We don't, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. We're moving on. We're moving on.
Yeah, but those are the areas that I want to bring up and say, hey, look, would you like to be better in those areas? And let's get together and let me show you what I've learned, and other people in the community can show you what they've learned, and let's help you get better in that area. If it's relationships, if it's stress, if it's emotions, and men have just as much issue with emotions as women do. Yeah, we're all human beings, and emotions run our lives. So we might pretend we don't have, much going on emotion-wise, but we do, and we get angry, and we get frustrated, and we get sad at times. Yeah, we feel guilty.
We have the same emotions as anyone else.
Yeah.
It just comes out in different ways because we've been trained. Society has trained us to react and respond in a different way.
Yeah, or they don't come out, but we're feeling them inside.
Yeah,
we're struggling with them, and they can affect your performance at work. In your career, your focus isn't as sharp, your energy isn't as robust. They certainly can affect your relationships. A lot of relationships fall apart because people don't know how to handle their emotions, or they get into emotional tailspins with their partners, and it can be very damaging, when you do that.
Well, Mort, this has been a great opportunity to have another tool in our toolbox. So go connect with Mort, Dr. Mort, in Life Mastery Skills for Men /go. Sign up and get. I think it's a free course you're offering right here.
There's it's a free membership site, and in the membership site are a bunch of free courses, and there's a couple of paid courses. One that's in there now that is not quite ready for sale yet, but they'll be added as time goes on. But there'll be also a lot of free stuff added regularly. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Happy Friday. Hope you have a great weekend, and as you're traveling back to Florida eventually. So
yep.
Yeah. But I look forward to future conversations as a pirate. You're always welcome back. So
great.
I'd love to check in and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, we got this event. We'd love to have you get your feedback. So thank you so much. As always, pirates, I always appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for showing up. And if you're watching this or listening to this in the future, please like, comment, and share. Love to learn more about what you're doing. Get involved, ask questions, show up, and get involved in the conversation, because it's always a little interesting to see what's happening in other people's lives. And as always, kindness is cool, smiles are free. So you enjoy the day. Take care, everyone. Thanks, Mort, for being here.
You're welcome. Enjoyed it.
Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable,
Please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.